Hi there. My name is Mike. I'm 19 years old, and as I record this, it is June 21st, 2015. You may be listening to this because you want to hear something relaxing. You may be listening to this because you want to hear my story. Or you, Mike, might be listening to this in the future, years from now, as your journey has come full circle. What journey is that? Well, I'm about to tell you right now. This is a dream journal that I have wanted to make for a very, very long time. I apologize if this story is a little bit long, but this story is years in the making, and I'm very happy to be able to document it here right now. Ever since I was about 7 years old, I would have dreams about a city. I would dream that I was in this city, and I was always alone. This city had no name and no people. In fact, it barely had any color. It was a bleak, sepia-toned city covered in thick fog. As I got older, I'd always go back to that city, and it would be less foggy each time. Eventually the fog was gone, and I could see everything. But there were still no people, and the buildings had no signs or labels. As the years went on, by age 13, I began to study Japan and Japanese culture and learn the Japanese language, which I've been doing for almost 6 years now. And this tied into my dreams. When I'd go back to that city, I'd see people walking around, but they had blurred faces, so I couldn't tell who anyone was. By the time I was about 16, the people could clearly be identified as Japanese. They would wear business suits or traditional Japanese clothing, but rarely anything modern. They would never look at me as if I wasn't there. In more recent years, at age 19, things have gotten interesting. The buildings have signs, all in Japanese, but interestingly, only the Japanese that I can read, which is limited. In addition, people now not only look at me, I've spoken to them in Japanese, which I've gotten good at. Also, the city itself is now brightly lit with neon colors, much like Shinjuku and Akihabara in Tokyo are. The most recent experience I had with this dream city was last night and last week. I will describe what happened to the best of my memory. Last week, the dream events were as follows. I got up in my apartment that I rented in Tokyo and immediately got dressed and went downstairs. I walked outside and it was a beautiful day. I began walking down the street to go to my classes, which is odd because I knew I was on vacation, when the cars began being very loud while not driving very fast. I ignored it, dismissing it, and pressed on. A lot of people were on their phones, which made sense to me since I was in a major metropolitan area. The ground was all cobblestone, everywhere. I walked all the way to a local convenience store. I guess I forgot about class. I looked around the store and saw a lot of drinks that I had never seen in real life, but somehow recognized in the dream. I bought what appeared to be a lemon soda and walked out. On my way back, everything was tilted up, as if someone strapped a GoPro to my belt and aimed it upwards. I felt very dizzy, so I sat down. A Japanese man sat beside me and told me, "You should really be more careful." I didn't understand him, but I thanked him and continued back. The rest is a blur. Now for last night. In last night's dream, I was back on the exact same street, except everyone was gone, and it was quiet, and the city had no color, as if it was back to when I was young again. I could also appear to moon jump, and jump about 10 feet in the air, and come back down to the ground slowly. I walked into what was my apartment complex to find it filled with new workers and very loud music playing, but I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. When I left the building, I was immediately transported to a Japanese water park for some reason. I was standing under a large ride with some people I knew in the dream who were from Japan. They spoke English to me and told me about how things are in their country and how to blend in. One of them told me, "Here in Japan, we keep ourselves low-key." I didn't understand what he meant, but I responded with, "I'm just so happy I can finally say, 'Here in Japan,' showing how happy I was to be there. The rest is a blur. These dreams always mystify me. I plan to travel to Tokyo after college, and I think about it a lot. I'm sure that's where these dreams come from. I'm sure I'll go back to that dream city again soon. But more importantly, when I do visit Japan, the dreams I will have from there and the memories are sure to be very interesting." The next part of this recording is another dream that I had in this dream city. As I record this next part, it's the next night. This dream started, interestingly, in a car with some friends. We were going to a wrestling match in the city, and we were on our way. This dream was interesting because while my friends were chatting amongst themselves, I was sitting in the back, looking out the window. Normally in these dreams, it involves a lot of myself communicating with other people, but this one I was not communicating, barely at all. What I saw was so breathtaking that I get emotional just thinking about it. It was my definition of the perfect night sky. It was about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. The buildings were all lit up, be it from neon colors or from the indoor lights of the buildings. There was a calm, serene sound of cars rushing by with very few voices. It was so peacefully calm. I could even smell food being made, which was amazing, because I never smell in my dreams. And finally, the sky was navy blue with no clouds. It was a sight to see, and just describing it doesn't do it justice. While on the way to the venue, the streets became very narrow, yet my friend kept driving very fast and didn't hit anything. Finally, we get out of the car. There's a smell of fresh air, and yet I've never smelled this exact smell before, which made my dream seem all the more real. The dream ends there. These dreams just won't stop. Maybe they never will. Maybe they'll only stop when I go to Tokyo for real. And instead of having these fictional dreams, I start having real dreams. But I'm very glad that all of you got to hear this. I guess it's time for me to head back there.